It's my honor today to be with you and representing Democracy in Action initiative, which includes also international annual higher level conference in Ukraine. And by setting agenda for democratic transformation, we are defending values and democratic principles. And it's really important today during our discussion to seek solutions to hybrid threats to democracy and present these solutions to the world, because I'm sure that Ukraine is a democracy in action, and 30 years of renewed independence just proved that Ukraine is a contributor to the European security, and also in the eve of the first virtual Biden Summit for Democracy, it's important that we, civil society representatives, and also Bogdana Gavrilishina Family Foundation and the Ukrainian youth delegates to United Nations will present our ideas, and which is really important to hear for our international partners. And as you know, that President of the United States, Joe Biden, committed to revitalizing democracy as a domestic and foreign policy imperative, to standing for human rights around the world, to fighting corruption globally, and to making clear that Americans' commitment to democracy and human rights is central to his administration efforts to revitalize US alliances and partnership. And of course, democracy and human rights are under considerable stress in the United States and around the world. In Ukraine, of course, the issue of human rights is very important. And I'm so happy that my teacher, Bogdana Gavrilishina, a member of World Academy of Arts and Science Club of Rome, elaborated the Declaration of Human Responsibilities in 2013 to remind people of their responsibilities to themselves, to their families, country, to the environment and the global community. I mentioned 2013. It's a very important year in Ukraine's struggle for democracy, because in 2013, we protested against Yanukovych attempts to turn us back to the Soviet Union. So actually, Ukrainians protested to demonstrate that there was no way back to the Soviet Union. We stopped the Kremlin's plan to drag Ukraine into the customs union, and the Maidan proved that Ukraine is a European state with 1,000 years of history, not a vassal of Russian President Vladimir Putin's Eurasian empire. And for all these years, we managed to achieve a lot. And in Ukraine, citizens protected the state from Yanukovych or Russians' plan to turn us back. And also today, I also wanted to mention the urgent appeal from Ukrainian civil society representative to the President of the United States, Joe Biden, on the eve of his meeting or his video call with Russian President Putin. And where we actually calling President Biden that we believe that during his talks with Putin, he will adhere at the guiding principle, no decision about Ukraine without Ukraine. And also it's important that his initiative, the Summit for Democracy, which is a good idea for the solidarity and consolidation of the world's democracies in the face of rising autocracies. However, now democracy not only needs a summit, but above all, protection. And I'm also a member of steering committee of one of the group of Biden Summit for Democracy. It's a group against authoritarianism. And I think it's also important to mention and to add that President Biden intends for summit to provide an opportunity for world leaders to listen, learn, and share how governments and non-governmental actors can strengthen their commitment to democratic principles and practices. The summit will bring together members of civil society, private sector, and leaders from a diverse group of democracies to discuss how they can together advance the summit's three broad themes: strengthening democracy and defending against authoritarianism, addressing and fighting corruption, and advancing respect for human rights. And of course, the United States envisions the Summit for Democracy as an extraordinary opportunity to galvanize attention and mobilize international actions. Accordingly, together with partners, US government also announced the year of action after the virtual summit in December 9-10. And I do believe that our today's initiative, which we are presenting, and we will follow up by articles in international media, which is really important to include human responsibility day, and which is also a part of our mission to establish International Human Responsibility Day, celebrated every year on October 19th. And I might stop here expressing my gratitude to the Bogdana Gavrilishina Family Foundation and my teacher Bogdana Gavrilishina for his initiative, for his proactive position, for his belief in youth, in young generations, and of course, for his responsibility for the world, and actually his passion and love to Ukraine. And I do believe that after Ukrainian parliament adopted Human Responsibility Day, now we will continue this strategy via bottom-up approach, when mayors of different cities will join this initiative in Ukraine, and also associations of mayors and communities also will contribute a lot. And then we will start working with governmental officials from different countries, from different continents. And one day there will be UN declarations of human responsibilities, and the world will not just celebrate, but also citizens of different countries, different cities will keep remembering about not just about their rights, but also about their responsibilities, because we in Ukraine, from Soviet Union collapse till now, and it's so sad, but this is the reality, that this morning I started from reading Financial Times with the title that US intelligence shaking convinces allies of Putin's threat to UA, skeptical capitals, including Berlin, persuaded of the need to draw up threat of robust sanctions. So actually today also is on the Armed Forces Day of Ukraine. I think it's really very important to remind the world that we in Ukraine will defend our country, our sovereignty with our army, and our individuals, citizens will protect our country and protect Europe from aggressive behavior of Putin and his kleptocrats. Today we're just, starting before the Global Summit for Democracy. And as I mentioned at the beginning, Ukraine contributes a lot to the global democratic affairs. And actually our soldiers, since today is the Ukrainian Armed Day, and we are very thankful to our soldiers, which are protecting us, that we have this right today to deliver our messages to the world. And of course, I think it's really important that Ukrainian Human Responsibility Day one day will become International Human Responsibility Day. And it's really important that we engage youth, local governments, and actually it's important for global transformation. Why? Because everything starts from individual person. So if you are ready to protect not just your family, but your community, your country, and it is really important to have this common responsibility for the future of our world. And in Ukraine for centuries, because now we have probably the longest period of renewed statehood, 30 years. But we never lost the spirit of statehood, even if the period of державності, statehood was more than 100 years ago, not so long. But I think it's really important that with Bogdana Gavrilishina Family Foundation and with young generation, which are responsible for the future, we have to build these bridges between Ukraine and different countries, and inside Ukraine, also from a national level, from parliament, also to local one, and from local also to build these bridges with local communities in other countries. So it's like a network. So I believe in this, and I believe that I'm optimistically looking into the future, but everything starts from strategy. And Bogdana Gavrilishina family, they have strategy, have very proactive youth engaged in this project. And I'm sure that through the Ukrainian delegates to the UN, we could also advocate for more projects within the UN, because actually even the UN itself needs to reform itself, because the Russian veto rights, it's a right to kill, let's be honest. So I think we have to contribute to the transformation and reform of international organizations by showing individual examples, communities examples, and countries examples. And I'm happy that having Bogdana Gavrilishina declaration of human responsibility and also having very inspiring examples of Ukrainian nation, which is fighting for a better future, we could also help Belarus, we could help Venezuela, we could help people suffering in Russian Federation, also in China, and not to allow autocracies to win over democracies. Thanks a lot.